UFC 315 is this Saturday night, and we have 12 fights headlined by Bilal Muhammad taking on Della Maddalena for the welterweight strap. In the co-main, we have Valentina Shevchenko taking on Manon Fiorot. In the co-main for the flyweight championship as well. 2 title fights, and I'm going to be breaking down each and every one of them, starting at the bottom, working my way all the way to the top, giving my quick picks and favorite bets on the entire card. If you want a longer, more in-depth breakdown, check out my video from earlier this week where I went a little longer, about 30 minutes. This is going to be quick and to the point. Also, don't miss Wager Wars from last night. We had a very special episode because me and Couch Warrior, both the only 2 to be 3-0 out of, I believe, 27 people in the Wager Wars rankings. So we are facing off at UFC 315 for the Wager Wars Championship. First person is going to be 4-0 and be the first ever Wager Wars champion. So let's see if Couch Warrior can give me my first L. The winner's probably going to be taking on MMA Chad, and the only other guy in the top 3. So make sure you check that out. Last night's episode, you can go to my live tab on my YouTube channel here, and you can watch that from last night. And we're going to go over a bet on every single fight on the card, so you can check that out as well. I think both of us are going to be making some money. But let's get into it, man. First fight on the card, we got Brad Katona taking on Begzat Almakhan. I'm on the underdog here. Brad Katona, I bet him at plus 160. That line is coming down. Looks like more people are thinking the same wavelength as me. I think Katona can grind this out, use his experience. I think Almakhan had one good moment. I do think he's good. He's well-rounded. I get he's a younger guy. Maybe he has some finish upside, but I'm going to say Katona gives him the vet lesson by decision and plus 160 for me. We move on. Daniel Santos taking on Young Lee. I'm on Lee here, but man, this line has completely flipped. I bet him at plus 155. He was one of my first 3 bets on the entire card. And wow, looks like you guys are on him. I don't love being on public dogs, but we'll see because there's a little bit of that this week because these lines are moving. But I do think Lee's size, his style with Santos, I mean, we got to assume he's healthy coming into this, but up a weight class, I think stylistically it's a good matchup for Lee. I think he clips him. I think he knocks him out. Give me Lee plus 155. We move on. Marc-Andre Barriault taking on Bruno Silva. I think Marc-Andre wins, but not going to be laying the chalk. I thought about a finish-only prop like I did on Wager Wars but for Bruno, but because I think if it goes to decision, it may be. If it is a finish, probably Bruno. But I'll take Marc-Andre by decision, and we move on. Navajo Sterling taking on Ivan Urslan. I think Navajo edges this, but maybe he clips Urslan if he comes in. I thought about a finish-only as well, like I did on Wager Wars, but like the last fight, just one where I think the favorite wins, but I'm not going to lay the chalk. Not sold yet on Sterling, but I do think he gets it done. We move on. Modestas Bukauskas taking on Ian Coutalaba. I like Coutalaba here, man. I wanted to wait for that plus money like I told you guys earlier in the week, but just had to settle for minus 105. I'll take it. I think he's got more ways to win. I think he's the more well-rounded guy. He's fought the better guys. I think he's been looking pretty good, still making improvements this late in his career. He's not an old guy by any means, and I've never been the biggest Bukauskas guy. I get he's probably the more technical striker, and they're probably going to strike a good bit, but I'm going to say Coutalaba mixes in the takedowns, makes it gritty, makes it ugly, gets this done. Coutalaba on the money line, minus 105. Next up, we got Jessica Andraj taking on Yasmine. No, I'm kidding. Jasmine Jasdavicius. She is not Brazilian. I think Jasdavicius gets the takedowns here, gets the smish. On the feet, you know, it's a little sketchy, but I think Jasmine can hold her own there. She still seems tough, durable. I think she gets the takedowns. We've seen this story before with Andraj. Maybe there's a finish. Maybe it's a decision. I parlayed her on Wager Wars, but for the sake of my hard-earned money, no bet on this one. I don't parlay 3-1 women's MMA, but if I was gonna, I really do think she wins this fight. Next up, we got Mike Malot taking on Charles Radkkey. I bet him at plus 205, and man, he's like plus 155 now. I don't know if this is it. Has he come down even more? Yeah, I mean, that scares the piss out of me. I don't love being on public dogs. Speaking of Jose Aldo on this card, it reminds me of when he fought Mario Batista, but, that scares the shit out of me. But, look, hopefully you guys didn't mush my pick, but I like Radkkey. First bet on this card, and I like it. I think he wins. I think he knocks Malot out. I liked it a whole lot more at 205, but I'm straight up picking him to win the fight, so I still like my bet. We move on. BSD, Benoit SaintDenis taking on Kyle Preple. coming in, making his second debut in the UFC. Got cut a couple years ago, but I actually bet the over 1.5 at plus 165. It's actually plus 168 right now on Bet Online. So I got a little, whatever, same thing. You can still bet that. I think Preple's tough, man. He hasn't been finished in a while. His last time was getting submitted by Kevin Lee. That was a long time ago. I think he gets it, or I think he can at least survive 7.5 minutes. Plus 1,000, there's worse bets to make in MMA. It's still a cage fight. I don't know if I'll get around to it. You guys know I've cashed those crazy dogs a lot over these last couple of years, but, I just don't really see the path to him actually winning the fight, but extending it, I do see plus 165 on the over 1.5. We move on. Alexa Grasso taking on Natalia Silva. I think Natalia Silva wins, but man, I think the line's a little wide. I do think she's more well-rounded. I do think she's has a very high ceiling. She's been, making big improvements between all of her fights. She's looking really good. She's still young. She's still got time to improve. 28 years old. It's not like Alexa Grasso's old, but she's been around. She's been fighting. She lost the belt, and some people, after you gain it, or you get it and then you lose it, you don't recover from that. I just think the plus money is getting pretty wide. I haven't bet it, but because I do think Natalia wins, but it's starting to get into serious dogger pass territory in my eyes, because I do think this going 15. Both girls are tough. I don't think a finish is super likely. And then, Grasso, do you guys really think it's going to be a dominant 30-27? If you think Grasso wins a round, then you got to admit she's the value side. So she could be a value loser. I haven't bet it yet, but I do think the line is a little disrespectful on the former champion. Next up, we got Jose Aldo taking on Ayman Zahabi. I'm sticking with my pick Aldo, but man, he looked like shit on the scales. Looked terrible. They had to bump it up to featherweight. A lot of times you would think, okay, well, he let his opponent know last second. It's kind of a dick move. And maybe that is true, but he looked like shit on the scales, like he didn't plan it. He didn't look like he was acting. He looked pretty bad. So I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a good thing. Maybe we hear of something happening. Definitely not a great look, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Zahabi should be honestly thankful Aldo's taking these type of fights anyways at this point of his career, and the UFC should be thankful too. He's an absolute OG for taking fights like this. I think Aldo wins, but the line's coming down now, so I don't know if I'll say dog or pass anymore, but if you got plus 200 Zahabi, I think you did your job. It's probably going to be a close fight like the last one. We move on. Co-main event, first title fight. We got Valentina Shevchenko, Manon Fiorot. God, I'm tired of saying that name this week. Manon Fiorot, I think it actually. Look, I've bet Fiorot all but one of her fights. I faded her against Rose, and you could argue Rose won that. It was very competitive. She also broke her hand. It was a really close fight. And I picked Fiorot earlier this week. And look, I haven't done this. I don't even know. It's probably been a year. I don't ever flip my pick. It hasn't happened in 2025, but it's going to happen now. I told you guys I was 50-50, but I was going to stick with Fiorot because I have been behind her entire UFC career. But I don't know why, but I really feel like Shevchenko, even at her age, is going to pull off one more. And I think Shevchenko gets it done, man. I know Fiorot's big. I know it's going to be a close fight. I just think because of that, man, you got the champ at plus money in a fight that we think is going 25. She's got the grappling upside. I know Fiorot's grappling and her takedown defense look good, but not against the Shevchenko. It's a different level. I think she can mix it in. I think the striking will still be close, and I don't think there's going to be a finish. So I'm going to lean Shevchenko. I know I never switch my pick. It's so unlike me. Because by the time I make a pick, I've already done so much looking into every fight that it's so rare to happen. But I was so 50-50, and I said 51-52% Fiorot, and now I gotta flip that. Valentina I'm gonna stick with, and Valentina by decision. We move on. Main event: Belal Muhammad taking on Della Maddalena, and I told you guys, I was gonna be on Belal from the moment they announced this fight. I'm sticking with my pick. I will say, I didn't see the line coming down like this. I was okay, Belal's finally getting his respect. So what's up? And then I saw in the middle of recording the last video, or I can't remember. It was maybe when I was putting the video up, he was minus 160. I didn't get that, but I got minus 170. Went ahead and bet that. I rarely lay chalk. You guys know. It's very rare. I don't parlay often, and I don't lay, over minus 150 on money lines often at all. I just don't. It's just not my style. It's not saying there's not value on it. It's just not my personal style. I like to find plus money and small shots, and it's worked for me for the last 5 years. But this is a spot where I'm just gonna have to do it. I'm planting my flag. Don't get me wrong, JDM presents problems. I do think his forward pressure and his boxing is going to present some problems. He's not going to back up, which is going to make it harder for Belal to wrestle. That being said, I think Belal gets it done. I think he's too well-rounded. I think his fight IQ is too good. I get he's a little older, but I think he's still got enough in the tank for another win, another couple wins. Belal and still, I'm gonna plant my flag and put my money where my mouth is. So Belal Muhammad minus 170. We got Radkkey plus 205, Lee plus 155, Katona plus 160, Coutalaba minus 105, the over 1.5 in the BSD fight plus 165. I will be eyeing the Alexa and Val lines just in case they get, ridiculous. But I think those are pretty close fights, especially the Val fight. That is just so close. Coin toss, in my opinion. But those are my picks. Those are my bets. Good luck. Watch Wager Wars from last night. It's an important one. It's going to be fun, and I appreciate all you guys' support. It's been a ton of fun, and I don't know how I managed to make my way to the top. I swear I didn't see that coming. But if I lose this, I want to sit back, just host, do my thing. I have more fun as just the host, letting these other guys shine. I guess I had a good start, but, we'll see what happens. It's a win-win in my eyes, but check that out from last night on my live tab. I appreciate you guys. Catch you next week. Until then, make some money. Peace.